What's up, guys? It's Pete Moss and Chris.
What's up, everybody?
It is Monday, Memorial Day weekend.
Indeed. Happy Memorial Day, everybody. Thank
Yes,
you.
yes, definitely a very happy Memorial Day. Um, I hope a lot of people stop and think what Memorial Day means. There's a lot of people over a lot of years that have literally given their lives. So, like what we're doing here today, or whatever you guys are doing or may do, like like people have really died for that, and like this is a day to remember them. And I'm pretty sure that like an actual veteran, you're not really supposed to tell them Happy Memorial Day because they're still alive. They have Veterans Day for that.
Yeah,
But Memorial Day is a very to me, I don't know. Like I've been to Arlington Cemetery and
me too.
places like that. Like when even though I was a kid, it really makes it like very surreal. It's
Uh,
like wow, man. Like
yeah,
yeah,
I've been there as an adult,
yeah.
and it's the same feeling.
Well, like just today, if you like the big Gaston Park, that's a big cemetery. If you like all the flags that are out there, like there's so many veterans and and stuff. So like yeah, especially the people that lost their life in combat, even first responders and the police officers, firemen. That's a dangerous job, firemen.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't. I would love to be the person to save a bunch of people and stuff, but you know, uh, being a fireman's tough, man.
Hey, now I don't know if it's still as strong as it was, but after 9/11, for about a 10-year span, especially the first couple years,
Mm.
you could be a fireman and just be a very average looking guy and hook up with the best of girls. It was just, like they had it coming to them. Like I'm not saying I'm not making light of that was a terrible thing, but I'm telling you, like as far as being able to be like, I see them on two eyes. Like the firemen had no problem getting girls.
Well, what I can say, and it has nothing to do with that, but it made me think of something else off topic that we could do on here that would be absolutely hilarious, and that would be to do. Is it called boudoir?
What?
You go do a boudoir set, and we'll show everybody the pictures.
What is that?
That's wherever you could be like prancing around in your underwear, or over there trying to look trying to look sexy, and
Where do I do this at?
I mean, your daughter takes pictures. I mean, I don't know if you want to. I don't know if you want to listen to come up here.
Like a photo shoot.
Yeah, you're sitting there looking all sexy. You put your hand on your head with your shirt off. Kind of like George Costanza did on that one
Yeah.
episode of Seinfeld.
Why would you want me to do that?
I just think it would be hilarious, and I bet you that some of these people would want to see you do that. I mean, you're not naked. You have clothes on.
If I'm gonna do it naked. If I'm gonna go all out myself. I'm gonna shame the family. Let's like at least put a little pride back into it.
Well, I mean,
Really? Like
people do that, man.
I thought we were talking about Memorial Day.
I mean, we are, but I'm sorry. I didn't mean to take it on a weird path or anything.
Okay.
I'm just trying to make
Yeah.
I'm trying to make light of
Shit
situation.
just got weird, Chris. Like I'm kind of uncomfortable. Like why do you?
It just popped in my head. I don't know why. I don't know why. I was just thinking of something that could have been funny. It would definitely make for an interesting
I'm
podcast.
probably not doing that.
All right.
Is Playgirl magazine still a thing?
I don't know. That's old school.
Well, they probably have.
Hey, Donna.
Is Playboy still around? Do they still have
I,
Playboy?
I don't think they do. I don't. I really don't know.
I don't
mean,
have
there's
those
definitely.
magazines. Now, if somebody was like, hey, you're Monkey Boo's dad, we want to do like a jungle theme, do some classy pictures for our spread.
Would you looking like Tarzan?
Yeah.
And like with a loin cloth on.
I'd be like, man, let me knock out about 50 or 60 push-ups right before we take the pictures. Yeah, probably. Like, if they, but I mean, that'd be a paying gig, Randy.
We ain't got no gigs,
It's a
Randy.
paying gig.
Oh.
Just randomly go do some pictures. Like, no, absolutely not.
Well, I figured that our fans would want to see what old Petey's got to offer.
That's weird, Chris.
Oh, all right.
That's weird.
All right.
It's like you completely throw me off my game today, man. Like, would you just, are you and somebody else that y'all playing? Like, you say this to him right out the gate. Like, what the? Like, I'm in the Twilight Zone, Chris.
All right, y'all. Sorry about that. I was on off topic there.
Totally ruined my buzz.
Well, but but anyways, though. But the serious side of stuff, though, definitely remember everybody on Memorial Day and be thankful for what you got. Because if it wasn't for some of those, or if it wasn't for those people, you wouldn't have anything that you have and the freedom that you have. So,
Yep.
yeah.
And even though it's kind of messed up and stuff, and it's weird right now, but we still live in the best country. I don't want to go nowhere else.
Yeah, I
Um,
might. I like to visit, but I don't know if I want to live somewhere else.
I don't even want to visit nowhere else right now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm good. I've been, but that's something about the. Chris has got to see a lot of the country too. He's actually been to the Northwest. I haven't been there.
Actually, I lived in the Northwest for a while. Whenever I was young, I lived all the way on the coast at the very top, little town called Oak Harbor out there, and it's a Navy base, but it's on the water everywhere, and
You know, because like I got to travel playing softball years ago for a long time. Um, got to travel with Thai skateboarding,
yeah,
all literally even further, more around the country than even softball in some cases, most cases.
I bet.
And, and then Boo and I spent about 3 or 4 years traveling. I've been all the way around the entire Gulf of Mexico. That's pretty from the southern tip of Florida to the dirty water in Galveston, and even on down from there. The water in Galveston is dirty. It is, guys.
What's Chuck say?
Oh, Chuck is not. Chuck is not. I don't know. I've been to San Antonio. I didn't see a lot of big girls like Chuck. Charles Barkley.
Charles
says.
Barkley.
He
Yeah.
said that, not me.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a joke they do on the show. But yeah, like I've seen all of the Gulf of Mexico, all through the Midwest, Northeast, South, everything, everywhere in the Southeast.
Now, the Gulf is nice. I typically go to the Keys for vacation, and I haven't been many other places on the Gulf side out there. But I did go to Destin a year or two ago,
Oh yeah, I've been there.
and beautiful water. But my goodness, man, there are so many people there, and it is ridiculous how many. I mean, this condos on condos on condos right at the beach.
Have you ever been out to like Huntington Beach and stuff in California?
I didn't go to Huntington Beach. I did when I traveled out there. I drove and camped, gone for like 24 days.
I went out there to
and-
Muscle Beach, dude.
Did you?
Stood around, you know how the dudes just stand around and pose up and stuff.
Oh, yeah, you was out there?
I stood out there and stuff.
Nah,
The gymnastic stuff, I went out there and did the rings and all that stuff.
no, I didn't go down there though. I did. Oh man, I didn't prepare a lot before the episode, or I would know the names of these places. But I stopped at like 3 or 4 campgrounds on the coast out there. I came in on the coast at Cambria, is what it's called in California, which is right below the Big Sur and the Bigsby Bridge and stuff. We came down below that, and then drove all the way up. The last stop in California was like
Played
Golden Bluffs Beach.
basketball out there, went out there and played a pickup game and won.
And won.
From White Man Can't Jump.
No,
Out there, yeah, man, was at the beach.
so that was you, huh?
Well, no, I just went out there while I was there. I was like, hey,
Right.
I'm going to do a quick, I'm up. And went out there, got me a game in. Nah, but I've been out there, and it's really funny because everybody I know that was out there, and when we were going out there, they're like, man, don't be out there after dark. And man, I had my Ty and Alyssa with me, and somebody was with Ty also, and they were carrying cameras and stuff. And we were walking back towards the car. As it started getting dark, man, you could see the criminal element getting ready to go to work. Like there's a bunch of souvenir shops. They all face the beach, and there's all that, the stuff you've seen it in movies. I'm sure a lot of that stuff. I always see it in music videos where they, the Billionaire song, the Bruno Mars video.
Yeah,
a lot of that's on at Huntington Beach there.
Okay.
But yeah, that's a pretty cool place. My favorite beach. Man, the Keys are nice, but I don't know, man. The Outer Banks of North Carolina is it's just, I like it out there. I really like the Outer Banks as far as beaches.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the Keys. Keys first for me. The downside is that the Keys they don't have a lot of beach. They have if you have a boat, you can go out and go to the sandbars and go to islands and stuff like that. And that's what I really like about the Keys and the nature stuff. But the close second for me also is the Outer Banks. I like
It's
any.
just so much of a more laid back atmosphere
Hmm.
than any other beach. And I grew up at the beach, so
It's because no matter where you live, it takes forever to get to the Outer Banks, and you're only getting there's a certain type of people that go out there, and it's expensive to go out there too, and so therefore you're keeping away a lot of the riffraff.
the where I lived at just south of Daytona, New Smyrna Beach. Um, there's so many people on the weekend. And we had to skip school to go to the beach during the week when it wasn't crowded.
Yeah,
You
that
know,
makes sense.
we had to have our beach time.
I mean, it really does
Uh,
make sense because in Florida, it's crazy down there, man.
Man, my high school was 3/4 of a mile from, not even less than 3/4 of a mile from the beach, and you could drive on the beach where I lived at.
Mm. Yeah,
And
yeah, tough to stay in school.
yeah, we skipped some school.
Yeah.
Hey, we outlasted one of the assistant principals one time.
What do you mean outlasted?
It was like 8 o'clock in the morning. We skipped school, we was paddling out. About 8:15, 8:20, he pulls up, parks beside my car on the beach. And like every 150 yards, they got like a hot dog stand. And they all got like really good hot dogs. It's like, it's good food. And when you're at the beach and hungry, like, that's so delicious.
Oh yeah.
So he pulled up and parked beside my car. We were like, damn, we're caught. And we were out in the ocean. And so we all like, there was 3 of us out there. We made our little pact. Like, I ain't going in until he leaves. I ain't going in until he leaves. Well, at about 5 o'clock, a little after 5, we actually ended up winning the standoff. And I knew he was going to try some bullshit. So at 5 o'clock, he left. And my friends, we were dehydrated, sunburned. Just, it was terrible. It was just, and we watched him get food and stuff and drink like several times throughout the day. He was showing it to us from the, we were just like, man. So it was really hilarious.
I bet.
He finally left, and my friends was like, I was like, hold up. I was like, he about to ride back by, stay out here. And sure enough, he rode back by again. And after he went by the second time, we got out, we run up real quick, jumped in the car, took off. He didn't come back. Got home. It was like 5:30, 6 o'clock. My mom was like, I went in and just trying to be all cool. My mom was like, come here. She's like, where you get all that sun at? And I was like, I had my shirt off in PE today. I was like, play basketball after school. She's like, nah. She goes, you don't get that, like, cause I knew we were at the beach all the time. Like, I had significant sun.
Yeah.
And I said, well, actually, I need to tell you something. I said, I've spent the last 8.5 hours in the ocean. She's like, what do you mean? I was like, well, Cuthbert come up and park. We skipped school. Cuthbert come up and parked beside my car, and we stayed in the ocean until he left. I said, so I said, do what you go do. I said, I need a note that says I was at home yesterday, though, for today. I said, I need a note saying to take to school tomorrow to say I was at home. My mom wrote me a note.
Damn.
And, I don't remember, I got grounded or something. I got in trouble.
Yeah.
But, because the attendance policy was just ridiculous, like how they would do you.
Yeah.
And I skipped school a lot too, so like I got through it. But so next morning, first period, yeah, Mr. Moss, come to the office, please. Went in there and he was like, I finally got you. He was fixing to send me home for about 10 days.
Yeah.
And I was like, what you talking about? And he goes, he was at the beach yesterday. I was like, oh, what? I was like, I was at home in the bed.
Yeah.
He's like, I seen you. I was parked beside your car. I was like, man, somebody else had my car yesterday. I said, I was at home. I was like, in fact, I got a note from my mom that said I was at home. And he knew my stepdad. He'd been, around town in the games and stuff. And I was like, I don't know. I was like, if you was to call my mom a liar, I was like, my stepdad, my dad would probably take it'd probably be highly offended.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know. I was like, if you want to, but I said, there's a note from my mom. And he's like, I was like, I was thinking to myself, I was like, man, we are not playing checkers. You're playing checkers. I'm playing chess. I got you. And because, man, honestly, the thing that I despised about this, even looking back, that dude walked around all day long, disciplining kids, fucking drinking bourbon.
Uh,
And,
like it
and
was a known thing. Him drinking the bourbon. He
not
smelled like
everybody,
it.
but I knew. I've been around people that drank and stuff. And
Yeah.
yeah, like there was a lot of people that knew.
Like
I
this-
went to a huge high school. And then
Yeah.
now we had another guy that was at our school, there were deans, assistant principals. Like he liked to put that stuff in his nose. I know this because I knew the people like
So I was there when you got that, man.
yeah, not directly, but it's like and I don't know. And one of and the other one was married to. She was a young teacher. I had her for like English or literature or some kind of English class, and he was married to her, bruh. Before he became that was one of his students. And the rumor was that it had been going on since even before she went to college. While she was and just looking back, like these are the people that was in charge of discipline. Like there were like 5,000 people at my high school, a huge school,
man.
And that was the people that was in charge of
That's horrible,
man. Like I admire people who homeschool their kids. School is such a schools. I mean, I know there's good schools out there and great teachers. I know there are, but for the most part, especially like public school, man, it's ruthless. It's
getting worse too.
I mean, it made us like Gen X people like myself. It made us better. We're tough. We're like, make no mistake about it. Of all the Gen X baby boomers, all that, nobody wants to smoke with Gen X right now.
That's right.
We're gonna age out. We're gonna age out, but we run this stuff right now.
Yeah.
Like that's like don't get that twisted one bit. We're the ones right now.
And could be the last generation that's like that because the newer ones they don't seem to be getting any tougher. No offense to anybody out there saying that, but raise your kids to be tough and to fight for something, and not just want things for nothing. So that's what a lot of people are doing. It seems like these days.
Yeah, the kids these days are definitely.
But then again, this is a guy, me, I don't even have any kids. So really, I don't even have a say-so in any of this stuff. Pete here.
Man,
Daddy Pete?
I'm about to be a granddad. I'm about to be Big Daddy. Everybody's got to start calling me Big Daddy. That's what my grandson's going to call me.
So we're going to change it to Big Daddy Pete and Chris podcast.
Oh, that's so when people yes. So that way when people ask you about what's the name of it, like Big Daddy Pete.
Oh my God.
I found that because I was searching something, I don't remember, but I found a Chris and Pete podcast.
Really?
They get like 60 views. And we don't get that many on YouTube yet. Our audience on YouTube will grow because we're doing them live. But we're doing like, we've done over 1,000 to 2,000 views on every episode. And this is our 9th episode, so.
Not too bad for starting.
Yeah, and still unsponsored. It's a $6 sponsorship to stop the smoke detector. We have a standoff because there it is. Like, somebody who wants a shout out. Like you could bring bring 2 9-volt batteries over here.
Yeah.
And we'll put them in, and then we'll say, "This is brought to you by JCB Guitar Repair."
I guess I don't want to be the one to have to sponsor.
I'm just saying, like, for example.
Oh.
Like anybody could just, if you want to shout out.
$6, y'all.
Not a couple 9-volt batteries.
Yeah, or just send the 9 volts. Hell, I'm fine with that. We'll get that.
I actually, because I thought the whole time that I had some, I was just kind of like on this protest thing.
You ain't got that?
No, I got every other kind. There's no 9 volts.
Oh well, yeah. So as soon as you guys send us one and get that sponsor, we're gonna give you a shout out on here, and that shout out is gonna be heard by a whole bunch of people because these do get shared on Facebook, and shout out to Monkey Boo and all those guys. So
yeah,
you're gonna be famous for a minute.
Yeah. So yeah, my grandson's due this week.
Ooh.
And yesterday was my son. Ty, Eve, his wife. It was her birthday,
Yeah.
and I posted a video from my Facebook page on her. I don't have like, it's not a huge page. I did have to get a blue check mark because people were making fake pages to try to scam people with monkey stuff.
I know. I noticed that was on the Pete Moss page, right?
Yeah, my personal page.
Yeah,
I had
yeah.
to get a blue check.
It was whenever I tagged you.
Because
it
I sent
popped up.
I sent them like 6 fake pages in one day, and they said something like verifying me, so I'm good to go.
Yeah.
So that way people know it's me.
And I know it's a day late. Eve, happy birthday.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
I told her. But I posted a video of her and Happy together. And the last time when I looked earlier, it had like 35,000 views in it.
Wow.
I don't remember. I don't think I shared it on Boo's page. I don't remember, but it had a lot of views.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
I saw it. It popped up on mine, and it
Yeah.
did. It had like 37,000 whenever I saw it.
Yeah, it was like,
So,
wow.
yeah. It's good.
But it was Eve the first time. I think it was the first time she held Happy
Okay.
back. But yeah, so she's just had her birthday, and she was actually having some contractions. I'm about to be a grandfather.
Oh, so it's definitely coming here soon.
Yeah, I'm all excited and stuff.
Heck yeah, that's awesome.
Tyler, I said, you got some cigars? He's like, what? He didn't even know, man.
I do. What?
You're supposed to pass out cigars.
Yeah, to all your buddies. All your people. I mean, the celebration.
You get that blood.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome though. I'm super pumped up for y'all. I'm super excited for Ty and for Eve. They really want that, so I think that's a good thing for them.
Oh, it's about to put Ty in check. He's gonna my kid I think that once Ty has his own son and he holds him and he looks at him and stuff, after somewhere in the first couple of days, it might be immediately, he's gonna look back and realize he'll be like, hey, and I hope he calls his sister and tells her this too, like, now that I've had Coast and I've held him and looked at him and stuff, like, Dad wasn't as much of an asshole as we thought he was. Because there was times where, like, not necessarily to my kids. I was never really like that with them. Tyler got a whooping one time, and it was because he didn't. He let Alyssa walk back from the woods by herself, and I had to. I hit him with the belt like 3 times.
No,
I never whipped my kids, but
yeah. You're good. Go ahead. Sorry.
Some kids need to be whipped, probably.
You
I don't know, man.
How do you feel about school punishment like that?
Oh,
Whenever you were in school, for sure they did it.
Oh, yes. Never happened to me, Chris. Never got paddled.
Never.
Was up on the chopping block more than one time. First grade, turned over some desk and ran, couldn't catch me. Another time in elementary school, I don't know how I got out of that one. I don't remember how, but somehow I did. Threatened my dad in middle school, junior high, 7th or 8th grade. I didn't do anything, man. Mr. Mead, he played softball like I did, man. This dude hit home run derbies and stuff. He could crack, boy. He had fiberglass paddle with holes in it so he could cut down on resistance, leave circles on their ass and stuff.
God dang, man.
And I brought these kids from PE, these 2 little dorky kids that was fighting, and Coach Pengrove had me bring them to the office and with the referral, and we were sitting there, and he stuck his head out, and that's what he was doing. He was in there passing out the beatings, and he said, he stuck his head out. He goes, "Next person says anything, be next." Everybody like, okay. And this girl come down right after. This girl come down the other side of the hallway, and she said something to me. And he stuck his head out. I was like, "Moss, get in here. You're next." And I was like,
dang.
Man, I looked at them. There was like 5 or 6 of us sitting there in some chairs. I was looking at everybody, and everybody was like, "Oh, he's pissed at all of us."
Yeah.
I looked at that girl, and I was just like, man. So I walked in there, and I had that referral that the coach had wrote for those kids. Those other 2 kids, they were still sitting there. I looked at both of them like I was mad. So I went in there, and he's like, "Put your hands on the desk." And I was like, "Hold up, man." I said, "I didn't do anything," he said. I said, "Put your hands on the desk." And I was like, "You can't paddle me for no reason." He's like, put your hands on the desk. I said, hold on, man. I said, here's the referral from Coach Pengrove. I said, them two was fighting. Here's his referral. I said, you stuck your head out and you said, don't say a word. Next person does is next. I was like, I never said a word. I said, that girl come down the hall and said something. I did the same thing everybody else did sitting out there. I looked at her. I said, so you're paddling me for absolutely no reason. I said, so I'm going to tell you right now, if you're going to do this, it is what it is. I said, but I promise, as soon as you get done paddling me, I'm going straight to get on my bicycle. I'm going straight to the house. I'm getting my mom and my dad, and they're going to come back up here, and you can explain to my dad why you paddle me for no reason at all.
Yeah, and Dad, by the way, great big biker guy, especially back then.
Yeah,
not to be messed with, and everybody knew him.
Very intimidating man. Very intimidating man. And once I said that, I said, so if you're going to paddle me for no reason, go ahead and do what you got to do. But you know where I stand, pretty much is what I put my hands up on the desk and stuck my butt out. Like, let's do it. Hit me. Like I wouldn't, like I seen people walk out there with tears in their eyes and stuff. Like, bro, you ain't gonna cry. You ain't gonna break me. You ain't gonna make me cry. Promise. Promise. Like I was just, I guess I was a different kid.
Cocky.
But once I told him that, and you know what he did? Once I like I said, I was like, so do what you got to do, and like I was at a damn Diddy party, but he patted me twice. He was like, going back to class, and I was like, yeah, that's what I was like, I didn't say that. I was just like, whew, thank God. But I was thinking, I was like, yeah, that's what I thought, because boy, like somebody had been up here. I promise he'd been like, because dude, I played that. If all else fails, or grown-ups where I grew up at, like, if I had to, I would absolutely play my dad card a couple times, probably with girls. Growing up, like I had to, I'd be like, their dads get mad, be like, oh really? What you gonna do? Like, cause my dad's not gonna let that happen to me, right?
Yeah.
You realize that, right?
You used him a lot.
Not a lot, but if I had to.
From time to time.
Yeah.
So whenever. My family knew this teacher. The guy's name was Mr. Pyatt, and he was some sort of military veteran, and he was a teacher, like an art teacher. I'm pretty sure is what he did. And anyways, I was the last one of my family that he taught, and but he had my brother, he had my sisters. Everybody knew him, and whenever you messed up in his class, there wasn't a paddle. He wasn't a paddler. That's not what he did. What he would do is he would tell you to, you act up, causing a scene in class, and he would tell you, he'd be like, stand up and fly. And what fly meant was you got to stand up with your hands out like that. And he would have you stand like that the whole class. And if you could do it, he'd put books in your hands, and he'd make you sit there and hold that stuff. That's what he did for punishment for people. And I tell you what, man, he didn't have too many bad kids in there, because once one or two people got to see that, and he got his name for himself, which he had done in a long time, and you just knew not to upset Mr. Pyatt, or else he was going to tell you to go fly in the corner. And that's hardcore, dude.
Huh.
It's kind of like that thing where I saw something on like Instagram.
Like at some point, your arms are, especially with it's going to get heavy. Like you can't do it. Like at what point do you? Like I said, I don't know. How bad it depends on how I hated him as a teacher or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I might go back and be like, "What's up?" And I'm not letting my arms go down for nothing. Like I'm gonna show him, like I'm flying. In the class, but I'm still back here flying. What's up?
Oh, he lets you.
Or am I gonna like after I'm like, no, man, I ain't doing this, man. I got basketball practice this afternoon. I can't have my arms all sore.
See, now if you did something like that and you disobeyed him, he'd send you out and send you to the principal or whatever like that. But most people didn't do that. Back then, man, our principals were tough.
Man, and it's sad that it was like this back then, but I know it was. And I think even people like my parents' age, like a generation ahead before us, before me, I think it was even worse for them. And I can only imagine. But I think a lot of, like, because the corporal punishment, paddling was a real thing back then. And I feel like a lot of teachers that did it were they did it when they didn't need to.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And in some cases, sadly enough, were probably bringing their problems from home, whatever
Yeah.
whatever they're pissed off about in their life, they're taking it out on some kid because he got out of line
Yeah.
walking down the hallway or whatever, and they're like, oh, bah, 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 and they're tearing them up with a bat because man, kids get back in the day when they used to get, I, and I don't know, like in like the north, was it the same as it is here? Because man, in North Carolina and Florida, where I went to school, paddling was it was a real thing. It was real.
I remember the paddling, but that was like that was I was young whenever they were still paddling, and I don't remember if I've ever been paddled. I really don't. I would have been young.
I think they sent a note home when Ty was in kindergarten about corporal punishment,
Mm.
and I was like, I remember, man, it was some paper or something. I don't know if it was, I don't remember if it was asking for permission or what, but I remember writing on there, I was like, if my kid does something bad enough that he needs to be smacked with a piece of wood, you need to call me immediately.
That's my signature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a couple of crazy incidences when my kids was in school. When Alyssa was in high school, I got detention one time.
Wait, you?
Yeah.
How? I gotta ask. What happened?
Well, you know how I am.
I know how you are.
Alyssa went to Highland up there.
Okay.
You know how crazy the traffic is right there at 321-85.
Yeah.
Well, it was her junior year. They had this guidance counselor guy, assistant principal, whatever it was, that I guarantee you got picked on in school.
Mm.
And you know Highlands, like nobody got pregnant while Alyssa was in school, in high school. So it's not that guy. Everybody makes tremendous grades.
Yeah, it's like a tech
yeah,
school.
Yeah,
right?
like it's a smart kid school.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, Alyssa was getting out at 1. She was on like the work thing that year, her junior year.
Uh-huh.
And she got out at 1. School got out at like 10 after 3. And the traffic's crazy up here at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Well, he told her she had to come back at 3 o'clock to do her detention. And she's like, I get out at 1 though, and the traffic's bad. She goes, she even said, my dad's probably going to tell me I need to do it at 1. And she just started driving and stuff.
Uh-huh.
So they had a principal that played ball at Carolina, and everybody used to kiss his ass. I'm not a Carolina fan, I'm a Duke fan. And around here in North Carolina, that's South Carolina, that's a big deal.
Oh,
like
yeah.
You Duke or Carolina, who you pull for?
That's it. I'm Duke.
The basketball thing. And boy, the principal actually played ball at Carolina back in like the damn 50s or something. Like, who cares?
It was Coach K still, or no, Carolina.
It was probably before Dean Smith, honestly.
I'll say that's got to be forever.
Yeah,
It's been there for 1,000 years.
it was a long time ago. But I used to see people kiss up to him and stuff. And he was 7 feet tall, like freaking Herman Mustard, evil. like don't go. I wouldn't go out there. Remember from what was Pet Cemetery movie?
Oh,
that's what
he
man. Like a scary looking old man. He's 7 feet tall, man. He's scary.
Yeah, that movie creeped.
And
I could have used without.
So Alyssa and that guy were going back and forth, and he goes, well, I can take you there and you can have a talk with Mr. I ain't gonna say his name about that.
All right.
And he was using that old giant man to intimidate my 16, my 16. Sister calls me. She tells me. She said, "Dad, this is this is what's going on." And I was like, "Why don't you just do the detention at 1?" The first thing I said was like, "Why don't you just do it at 1 o'clock?
Yeah,
that's when you get out."
Yeah,
I was like,
"That's after school."
I said, "There's somewhere you can go sit for 30 minutes." And she's like, "I tried to tell him that, and he's saying I have to come back up here." And I was like, so I called up there, and I said, she goes, "He's being such a jerk," and I was like, "So man, that dude's such a clown." Some of the other stuff I'd heard that he had done too, like I said, he got eaten alive at a middle school.
Okay.
Like he did, like these kids were no problem at all.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
middle school kids would they have been bullying him like when he'd have got bullied just like when he was in school.
Yeah.
So when Alyssa said he told me he was going to take me to Mr. Devin, I said, "What do you mean?" And so I was like he threatened you with Mr. Devin. He's like kind of like, and, you know, I'd have told Mr. Devin I'll call my dad, but and I was like, "All right, baby, I got you." So I called up there, got old boy on the phone, and I was like, "Hey man," I was like, "Apparently we have a little communication problem." I said, "Alyssa gets out of school at 1 o'clock. She's going to do her detention at 1." I said, "Ain't no sense in her driving back up here and all that traffic."
Uh-huh.
I said, "Damn," I said, "what if something was to happen?" I said, "I ain't really into stuff like this, but if Alyssa was being a wreck," I was like, "probably going to sue y'all, sue the school." And he's like, "Oh, you wouldn't be able to do that." I was like, I'm just throwing it out there." I said, "Why can't she do detention 1? You know, she can't go sit in the library or the cafeteria or somewhere she can go sit in the office
Yeah, 30 minutes.
for 30 minutes. Yeah, do the detention." And I said, "There's no sense in her having to drive back up there." And me and him went back and forth. He said she's got to, and I was like, "No, man." I said, "It ain't gonna be like that." He goes, "I can let you talk to Mr. Devin." I was like, "All right." I was like, "Put him on the phone."
The old 7 foot
Swear to
tall
God,
Herman
Chris,
Munster.
I swear to you. He got on the phone, and the first, and he said this is in his deep ass Herman Munster voice, and I was like, "Hey," I said, "This is Alyssa Moss's dad, David." I said, "I'm not." I said, "I'm gonna go ahead and tell you." I said, "Before we even start this conversation," I said, "I ain't all these other parents that I've seen up at the school when I've been up there." I said, "I'm actually more of a Duke fan. I'm not kissing your ass because you played ball at Carolina 4 years ago." And he's like, "Excuse me?" Well, I said, "You seem to demand disrespect because you played where you played college basketball at a long time ago." I said, "It has no bearing on me." I said, "Just to let you know, that's where I come from." I said, and as far as this other guy using you to intimidate my daughter," I said, "Was you going to try to intimidate my daughter?" I said, "Because, you know," I said, "You're a creepy looking 7 foot old man." I said, "That's fucked up."
Yeah.
I said, and he said, "Excuse me?" I said, "You heard me."
Yeah.
And I said, he said, "Well, Alyssa's going to have to do her detention." I said, "She ain't doing it at 3:15. I said, "She'll do it at 1 o'clock." And he said, "Well, that's what I'm going to have to side with him." I was like, "Well," I said, "what we going to do?" I said, "Alyssa can't be there." I said, "I can be there at 3:15. He said, "Okay, you come do detention."
No.
Yes. He said, "You come do detention." I said, "All right." And then he said, "You can bring something to read." I said, "I will." I said, "I'll bring my phone with me." He goes, "Oh, you can't have a cell phone in detention." I was like, "Man, I'm a grown ass man." I said, "You gonna take my phone from me?" I said, "I'll read some news. I'll catch up on some stuff." I said, "There'll be no noise." And he goes, "Well, you can't bring the phone." I said, "I'm gonna bring it, and I'll see you at 3:15. He's like, "We'll see you at 3:15. Click, click."
Did you show up?
So, I done talked to a couple of my friends. I was like, "Guess what?" I was like, "Man, I've been out of school for 20 years. I got detention."
Dude, that's hilarious,
I got
dude.
detention this afternoon.
That is funny.
Well, man, like, remember when Ty was in elementary school, I was PTO president.
Oh,
Fifth
no.
grade.
Oh, my.
Well,
Were you really?
I just had the girl that did all the presidential stuff couldn't get up in front of everybody and talk.
No problem from you.
That's what Miss Abernathy, Dixie, I call her. Well, she had moved on from she was a principal at the elementary school. She said, "Hey, won't you be my PTO president?" I was like, "I play ball on the weekends and ties baseball sports." And I was like, "I can't get time for that."
Yeah.
And she goes, "I just need you to talk at the assemblies." I was like, "Oh, I just got to get up and talk about and get them to spend some money on the barbecues or whatever y'all got going on." I was like, "Oh, too easy. I'll do that." So I was, and her daughter used to come spend the night and stuff. So I had known their principal. Well, she had moved on to the school board. She had a job with the county.
Okay. Yeah.
And about 30 minutes later, it's like an hour still before detention time. I get maybe 2 hours before, I get a phone call. "Hello?" "Hey." And she says my name. And I was like, "Oh, hey, Dixie, what's going on?" She's like, "What's going on?" Because she was there when there was an incident in elementary school, and I had to snap on this teacher. I had to tell her I was like, I got pretty ruthless with him. Not that inner nasty dad side of me come out on him. But so she knew me. She's like, "What's going on?" I was like, "Not much." I said, "I got detention today." She's like, "Yeah, that's what I'm calling you for." And I was like, she goes, "Don't go up there." I was like, "No, I got detention. Like he demanded that I be there actually." And I said, "I'm taking my phone with me." She goes, I've heard the whole story. I was like, no. I said, what you ain't heard is that punk ass guidance counselor dude. I said, Dixie, I said, if you send him over to Southwest or uh, Friday or one of the other middle schools around here, I said, them kids would eat that man alive. I
Yeah.
said, he's picking on kids at Highland. I said that he got bullied in school, and because he's got the smart, good kids, he's taking advantage of them. I said,
Yeah.
that's exactly I said, that's exactly what's going on. And she goes, yeah. I said, you know him personally? She goes, yes. I said, would you recommend him going to work at Southwest or Yorkchester or one of these other? And she's like, I said, Brianna. She goes, no. I said, them kids they would put that dude over, they'd put him in an insane asylum.
Yeah.
And I said, that's what the problem is. I said, what's the big deal with her doing the detention at 1? And she goes, well, she can do the detention at 1 tomorrow. She goes, please don't tell her don't be late anymore. She goes, because they're gonna try to press it again. And she goes, let's just make this a non-issue. Can you please do your best to help make sure this is not late? I said, all right, we'll step up our game on not being late. She was late once or twice more, but
No problems.
nah, she didn't even get detention again after
Yeah.
that. But yeah,
So-
yeah, I was. Could you,
So this was a good story about Pete getting detention. That's gonna be that's got to be in the headline on the stuff at the end, man. That was good.
yeah,
Whenever I was in school, I didn't make it through. I didn't make it through school. Anybody that's listening that's still in school, I would recommend that you finish school, though. It's important in life. If not, you're going to struggle real hard, and you're going to have to work extra hard. But anyways, so I was doing. I was in the 10th grade, and they changed the rules recently to where you had to have your shirt tucked into your pants so they could see your pockets. And I had on the big
in school.
Yeah, that was a new rule. We had a new principal come in. I'm not going to say his name either, but we had a new principal come in, and he changed the rules, trying to straighten up. I went to Ashbrook, so it's kind of a
At
rough
Ashbrook?
school. Yeah, I went to Ashbrook.
Everybody had took the shirt in.
Yeah, he changed the rules. Everybody, girls, everybody had to have shirts tucked in so we could see the pockets. And this is right around the time whenever metal detectors started coming into the schools and stuff like that you had to walk through.
I'm all for that.
Yeah,
Metal
me
detectors.
too. But so, anyways, I'm coming through there, and for some reason, this new principal picked me out of a group. I had my shirt tucked in, but I only had the front tucked in. You could see my pockets plain as day, and my pants were Jinkos, so the back pockets were down at like my knees. That you could see what was in there, and which there was nothing. And so, anyways, this guy, he come up and he said something to me about my pockets, and I was all, man, my pockets, you could see them. And so he took it upon himself to try to tuck my shirt in the back of my pants. That's how
Hey, man.
that look that you just gave is how I felt. And so I slapped his hand away from me, and he grabbed me by the arm and jerked me towards the office. And I pulled away from him, and I left. I walked out to my buddy's car, which my buddy was skipping school anyway. So I walked out to the car, and he hollered at me, and he told me, he was like, "Oh, you're suspended when you come back." And when I came back, that was the case. He pulled me into the office. I had 3 days suspension, and he told me, he was like, you need to bring your parent up here, and we need to have a talk. My parent was my brother, and legal guardian. You know how much of a hothead he
Oh
is.
yeah. Oh no.
Okay, so my brother, he went to the same school, and they had the same security officer when my brother was in school there to when I was there. And that guy's name was Officer Bratton. And my brother did not like him. He had bad problems with him in school. Officer Bratton chased him around, to make sure, he was a troublemaker anyways. So my brother shows up to the office that day, and the very first thing he says when he walks in the principal's office, the principal looked at him. He was like, "Hello, Mr. Browning." And he put his finger up at that guy's face, and he was like, "Hold on." And he pointed to Officer Bratton. He said, "You can get the hell out of here. I don't have anything to say in front of you." And that's how the conversation started for my 3-day suspension. So by the time he was done, because of the conversation with the officer. By the time my brother was done talking to the principal, I had 10 days suspension. And so Officer Bratton, as we were leaving, Bratton kept trying to talk to my brother. And, he was telling him, Mr. Browning, you need to come back here. I want to talk to you. He was getting a little aggressive with him. And so my brother, he's getting more mad by the second. And, you could see the fury. I mean, he was on fire. He was so mad. And whenever he got to the entrance and exit ways to the school, my brother kicked the door open. And he was that mad. Officer Bratton started chasing us out of the way. Me and the brother got in the car to leave. Here comes Officer Bratton in his cop car, pulls us over, pulls my brother back into the car with him. And, they were in there for a good 5 to 10 minutes at least.
Wow.
And Officer Bratton telling him, that he was very disrespectful and that he didn't appreciate this and that he remembered him from school and their issues. But the whole point of the story was I had 3 days suspension before my brother got there. And once he left, I had 10 days. And by the end of the 10-day suspension, I didn't go back to school. And that was the end for me. I went and got a job.
How did you get more time? What did he say?
Man, it started off with what he did, and he put his finger up in the principal's face, and he was like, wait a minute. And then Officer Bratton, he was like, I don't have anything to say to you. You can get the hell out of here. But I really don't remember what all got said after that. I mean, it was hysterical. Him coming in there just as mad as he was like that. And, it was very disrespectful, but it was disrespectful for that principal to try to tuck my pants in to my own pants in the
Y'all
back.
could have put a Freddie got fingered on that. Like you just had to claim victim, but
Man,
hey, he stuck his hand down the backside of my pants, what happened? Like I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to ever say what he did to me. Please don't make me say it.
Yeah.
Just imagine.
Yeah.
I mean, nowadays, I don't know, man.
If it were to happen now, and I was that age now, yeah, yeah, he was too. But yeah, if that was to happen now, you could sue like crazy, man. You'd have your name. It would be the Pete Moss High School on the top of that thing if that happened to one of your kids.
Nothing happened to me like that, and I'm not going to make nothing up, but I'm trying to think.
That's the only story I have that was like that. And I have other stories whenever I got in. I never got any whoopings or anything like that, but there was a time when I was a teenager that I smoked cigarettes. I don't condone that at all. I think everybody should quit smoking. But I smoked as a teenager, and I went through a phase where I had quit as a teenager in school, but my brother would give me a ride to school in the morning sometimes. And, he smoked cigarettes. And they smoked cigarettes in the house, too. So I got to school, and I was in my math teacher's class, not even the first class of the day, but got in there. As soon as I walked in, she was like, you smell like cigarettes, Browning. You need to get out of here and set my desk out there.
Wow.
And punish me. And then my brother, yet again, got a phone call. He didn't come up to school for that one. This was before.
Do you know what y'all kind of hearing? I've never, some of these stories, I knew that you lived with him, but I've never really heard none of the stories. Do you know what y'all kind of were?
What?
Y'all were like Pony Boy and fucking Dow.
Oh, God. From.
Was that Outsiders?
The Outsiders, yeah.
Y'all both had the dark hair. Y'all were greasers. Yes. He was just older. He had been through school already.
Oh, my God. I guess so.
That's for real. Those are if Pony Boy gets in trouble at school, who's got to go up there? Patrick Swayze. Dow, wasn't that his name?
I think so. That's his brother,
What was Matt Dillon's name?
Man, I can't remember all of their names, man.
They had Karate, had Ralph Macchio, Karate Kid.
All-star cast.
Rob Lowe.
That's right. That's right.
Charlie
Have
Sheen.
Rob Lowe. Was Sheen in there?
I'm pretty sure Charlie Sheen was in The Outsiders.
Man. Yeah. I guess it was kind of like that. I mean, we were over there living in sin, my brother was kind of a wild person back in those days, and I was practically living. We didn't have big money, but other things that we were doing was kind of like living like a rock star over there. And especially once school stopped for me, I was a bus boy, I think, or something like that, right out of school, and working till 2:00 in the morning. I was driving his car illegally. to work, which it was only like a mile away from where we lived. But man, I remember coming back home at like 2 and 3 in the morning. I worked at the Texas Roadhouse. That was my first job here as a busboy. Coming home at like 2 and 3 in the morning, dude, I was driving like 80 miles an hour on that 35-mile-an-hour road like an idiot.
Now, I worked at this pizza place for about a year or so when I was in high school. But man, like you had to know somebody to get a job there, and you made crazy money
Really?
because you delivered to the beach and stuff.
Oh, I guess so.
Resort town.
Yeah.
Like, you made ridiculous money, especially back then.
Mm-hmm.
And I had one other job before then at a restaurant, and I was a busboy. It was like a seafood place in town, nice seafood restaurant. And the first night I was working, I come out. I had one of them boxes, and I had to get some stuff. And there was these two twin girls that was kind of in one of my cliques of people I hung out with. They was the real yuppie. Their dad was like a doctor or something.
Oh, okay.
But, man, they were sitting there like having dinner with their family, and I was like, man, this is some bullshit. So I quit. I found something else to do to make money. Then I had the cool job at the pizza place for a while. That was I have to tell you, I might have told you, dude, I had a real life mafia encounter. like
no names.
Joe Pesci kind of dudes, like straight for real. It was, dude, somebody stole $50 out of a delivery bag that night, and them dudes was seriously pissed off that somebody. It wasn't the fact the amount of money that somebody stole from them.
$50.
Dude, I got chills. Like, it was pretty wild. Like,
yeah, let's dive.
Okay, so
This
I said,
is
this pizza
interesting.
place, man, like for real, dude. On a weeknight, man, this was in the late '80s. You could, it wasn't nothing to make $200 or $300 on a Tuesday night.
Wow.
From 6 to 11.
Wow, at delivering pizzas.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
Like, oh yeah, like it was, and
that's crazy, especially back
weekends.
then.
Oh my gosh, you can make $500.
Yeah, that's huge money in the 80s.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Well, I'd been working there for about a year, and the guy that ran the kitchen, his name was Andy.
Sure.
Andy was a jerk, asshole jerk. Never, like, had always been a jerk to me. Nothing but never said anything like, "Good job on knocking out those 15 deliveries in 45 minutes."
Yeah. Okay.
Never nothing like that. Just always a jerk.
Okay. Yeah.
And so about 2 weeks before this all happened, I was like, "Hey man," I said, a couple weeks on Friday, I need the night off. I was like, "I'm going to a concert with my friends. We'd already bought tickets and stuff." He's like, "I will have to see." And we had plenty. I mean, like I said, this is a demanded job. So
yeah,
the week of, I was like, he's like, "I'm not going to be able to." I was like, "It's a regular Friday night, dude." I said, "I got somebody to cover." Well, it got to that Friday, and I went in there, and I said, "Look, man, I got 2 people that's standing here willing to work for me. And either one of them or both," I said, "but I got somebody to fill in for me. They don't have a problem with it."
Yeah.
And he goes, "No." And I was like, so I don't know if them guys left or what. And I was like, man. So I was gonna start. Man, I don't remember if I did one quick one and I come back. I was like, man, bunk this. I'm leaving.
Yeah.
I'm not putting up with this.
Uh-huh.
So anyway. But I turned all my stuff in. If I did have anything, I don't remember. Man, you know me. What do I hate more than anything?
Oh, liar and a thief.
There you go. I hate thievery. I would never steal. So I quit, went to the concert, had a good time. It's like, whatever. I had something else that I was doing that I was making really good money off of. And so it was all good. Like, I hated to lose that job. I knew I was going to, but whatever.
Right.
So we went, had a good time. Next morning, I get a call. Saturday morning, I get a call. It's the manager, and she goes, "One of the delivery bags got stolen last night, and it had $50 in it in change because you had paid for the food that you were taking with you, and that way you'd have exact change."
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but it started off with $50. They said one of the bags got stolen, and I was like, "I didn't steal no damn bag." I said, "No." I said, I wouldn't. I said, $50, really? So,
Happy Memorial Day.
happy Memorial Day. But so anyway, so she goes, well, the police are going to be up here at 3 o'clock, and
The police.
if you wasn't work, if you was working, you need to be up here, or they'll come looking for you. And I was like, I'll come up here. I was like, I didn't take it. So I got up here at 3 o'clock, and it was like this Lincoln Town car parked outside the restaurant, and they had the restaurant shut down.
The police, huh?
Everybody that was working that night was sitting inside the restaurant around at the tables there around this small little area together. And they had, restaurants always have a little office in the kitchen.
Yeah.
This had like 2 desks facing one, and they faced the walls where like your back would roll out away from the wall. Like
Okay.
if you was looking at the desk, you was facing the wall.
Yeah, I got
one
you.
on that wall, one on that wall. And so they called this girl back first. She went back here. She was back here for about 10 minutes. She come out, man, she was crying.
Like bawling, like.
Well, she'd clearly been crying.
Yeah, she was upset.
And they called me next.
At least you were second.
So there's like a little couch and the 2 desks and the office chairs, and they were sitting in office chairs. And they went in. There was these 2 dudes, really well dressed dudes. And man, I was 17 years old, 16 or 17, and I was like, have a seat. And it was like, so you quit last night? And I was like, well, yeah. I was like, I've been trying to get last night off for like several weeks, and I said I had 2 people willing to take my shift, work for me.
Yeah.
And I said, but he wouldn't let me. I said, and I had plans. He's like, you're just gonna walk away from a job like this? And I was like, oh yeah. And man, they asked me, said they were like asking me where I went, blah blah blah, and they said, well, who do you think we are? And I was like, cops. And that dude, I'm talking like Thor, hit that damn desk. He turned around back towards the desk. He goes, "Fucking hate cops." And I was like, okay. I was like,
who the hell are you?
I was like, hey, that's what. And the manager lady, she was sitting on the couch. She was crying too when I walked in. And I was like, that's what she said. I was like, she told me to come up here at 3 o'clock. The police was here, won't talk to you. And he's like, well, hey, cops. I was like, all right. I was like, and he goes, and we want our effing money. And I was like, man, I understand. I said, if somebody had stolen $50 from me, I said, I'd be upset too. And he said something, and I don't remember what he said. He goes, what would you do with the $50 if you, and I said, look, I'm gonna show you something. I said, especially if you're not cops. I pulled out. I showed him about $5,000 in my pocket. I said, I don't want to lose this job. I said, I make great money. I said, but I got something else going on. I said, I would never steal $50 from anybody, even if I didn't have this in my pocket. And I had this in my pocket last night too. And it was like, where'd you get that? I was like, I got something else I do. I said, I said, I'd rather not discuss it.
Yeah.
And then, and that guy had reached, and he was holding a baseball bat, and I'm like, crap, a wooden baseball bat. And he goes, and he hadn't been saying, he goes, what if I took Andy out back right now and bashed him? Like, I forgot the words he used, but basically, I would imagine like something from The Walking Dead with Negan.
And Andy was the manager of this place.
Yeah, he'd been the one that I worked for the whole time. I thought he owned the place. I didn't know what the hell was going on.
Oh my God!
And I was like, I said, this was me. This was even at 17, I was like, I said, Andy ain't never been nothing but a dick to me. I said, honestly, I don't care what you do to him. I was like, as long as you know I didn't take your $50. I said, at this point, that's the only thing that matters to me, that you know that I hate thieves. I understand you're pissed off, but I would never take anybody's $50 from them. And they finally said, you're free, you can go ahead and go. And I walked out of there and was like, holy crap. I got my girlfriend and my friend were sitting out in the car waiting the whole time. I was in there for like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And they were like, my friend, he was always so dramatic about stuff, and they were like, so I was like, damn, he's like, damn, dude, what's that look on your face? I was like, Man, this was like before Goodfellas and stuff. I was like,
Yeah.
dude, I was like, bro, I think I just got shook down by the mafia. He's like, what? And he goes, what was going on? I was like, man, both of them had shoulder, not shoulder, but
The heart.
the rib. I was like, both of them had pistols. I said, I said, he said, wasn't it cops? I said, no. I said, that dude had a baseball bat, was talking about bashing old boy. He goes, what'd you say? I said, I told him, I told him I didn't care what he did to him. I was like, I didn't take the damn money. And he's like, over $50. I said, man, I don't think they were really mad about the amount. It was the principle. They were wanting to make sure that nobody stole from them. But yeah, like it was semi terrifying, but man, the one thing that I really felt confident about through the whole thing, even being a kid like that, is I didn't take their money.
Yeah, hey, you know, you stuck to it.
I had the advantage of the truth being on my side.
Yeah. I can imagine whenever they probably smashed his, whenever he came down with the power of Thor on that table and said he didn't like cops very much. You know, that probably would have scared you into telling the truth if it were something different. And then definitely whenever the guy came up with the baseball bat, tell him, what would you think if I took Andy out?
Just smacking his hand. He was like, what am I thinking about? Bashing. Like the way he was real descriptive. Like he used like adjectives and verbs and stuff. Like he made it very descriptive of how he was going to do it. And I was like,
so I don't even like Andy, sir. I didn't take your money. And
I swear, Chris, for a split second, I swear there was a brief second. Them dudes like looked at each other right after that. Was like, he's kind of like us. We're like we found somebody like us. He's just not part of the family.
that is a great story.
Yeah, for real. I told him, I said, the only thing I'm worried about is you guys know that I didn't take your money.
That's funny. But how do you look at the comments on theirs? I think there was one or two that was put on there.
Somebody was a punk.
Oh yeah, he knew Bratton also.
Oh. Yeah, people that went to school, like there's the guy had the incident when Ty was in elementary school. Squall had to deal with him in school too. Or he probably had to deal with Squall. Squall is the worst student ever. My cousin Squall has a double major in 8th grade. He failed the 8th grade, and they made him do it again. And because he knew, he told him on the first day of school, he's like, I'm not doing any work. And it's like, yes, you are. And he's like, watch and see.
And they pushed him through?
And he's like, can't fail me again. He goes, you got to send me to high school next year. He goes, and he literally made a 0 across the board and everything. And that's always like, and then he made it like 4 days of 9th grade or something.
Did you graduate?
Yeah.
All right, good for you. I didn't. 10th grade for me, but
actually a little bit early I graduated.
Yeah.
Because I remember when she called me in there and was like, I need to put some classes together for you. She's like, technically, you have enough to graduate. I was like, oh, whoa, what'd you say?
So let's go ahead and cut this short.
Technically, she goes, well, don't you want to stay and walk to class? I was like, no.
I don't need to do that.
I was like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
I was like, so I can get myself, and this is it? High school's over with?
So I can clean out my locker?
Yeah, I was like, she's like, what about this? And I was like, what about it?
I got some things going on.
It's time.
I need to go.
I'm ready to go start life. I'm done.
Yeah, I bet. I just got thrown into life is how it worked out for me. But whatever. But when it comes to like trips, I started traveling like super early. My dad decided to move me and him to Washington State when I was in probably the 4th grade or something like that. So my dad was very cheap and poor coming up. And so the only way that we could get out to Oak Harbor, Washington was to take a Greyhound bus. That is a Greyhound bus from Orangeburg, South Carolina to Seattle, Washington. Dude, it's like a 5-day ride, man. And you're stopping at every small town between here and there. And, they take you up first, you go up north to Chicago. And Chicago's bus terminal, their Greyhound bus terminal, it's like an airport, man. It's huge.
Can you, probably not, man, like that would be really interesting. But I'd want to be able to have a concealed carry with me.
Oh, to take the Greyhound? Oh yeah, you would definitely want to these days.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we probably would have wanted to back then. No, we on that same trip. We after Chicago, we were coming through. We were coming through like Billings, Montana, I think, and which is the place where I've seen the biggest snowflakes of my life. I swear they were as big as my hand. And but we were coming through there, and my dad had started talking to some dude on the bus. Well, let me rephrase that. This dude started talking to my dad, trying to carry on conversation. He was a very strange fella. And coming through Billings, Montana, we stopped at a place. And they stop you on these buses for like breakfast, lunch, and dinner so that you can eat real food while you're traveling at a restaurant. And so we stopped at this one place, and they were serving like sausage gravy and biscuits. And so my dad, he was like, "Hey," he was like, "let's go in here and get a couple of biscuits." And this guy was like, "Hey, I went in here and got these biscuits. I'm gonna buy you guys some breakfast this morning." And which my dad said no. He's like, "No, we're good on that." And we go in there, and the food was free. It was all free for the Greyhound people. So daddy was already a little sketched out at this point by this dude, which nothing ended up happening with him. But yeah, we went through there though, and then all the way on to Seattle. And with my dad being cheap, like I said, he went to the the Army Navy surplus store, and which a lot of my clothes came from there as a kid. Anyways, I was always decked out in military gear, but so they have these parachute bags that hold the parachutes for the military, and they're huge bags, and everything. These bags weighed like 100 pounds each, and I'm like, what, like 12, 11, 12, something like that, trying to carry these bags around these gigantic bus stations and stuff like that. But we finally made it to Seattle though, and but I've made that trip 3 times.
Wow.
Yeah, I've taken a bus, a Greyhound out there. I've taken a Greyhound back, and then I took a Greyhound bus back out there again years later. But I flew back when I came back home that last time.
You gotta fly there. That's too far to drive.
Dude, you being on a Greyhound bus in the back, the only good seats on a Greyhound bus are the ones in the back because there's like 4 seats all together, and it's right next to the bathroom though.
Man, I'm pretty sure that the Rambling Man was born in the backseat of a Greyhound bus rolling down Highway 41.
He was. I've heard
The
that.
Rambling Man. Well, that's where he was born at. Like,
That's what I heard.
like you back in the day, you see some crazy stuff. Like if you'd been on a Greyhound back then, you could have seen the Rambling Man be born.
That's true. That's true. I wonder who was there. Who remembers?
Like I don't know how that just came to me when you was talking about the Greyhound bus. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, the Rambling Man, wasn't he born on the? Yeah, it was on Highway 41 in the back seat.
It was. But so you try to travel with like a pillow or something on a Greyhound bus? No, bad idea. There's not enough room, and you got some nasty person sitting next to you. That's horrible. But if you get the back seat, though, there's 4 seats in a row, so you can actually lay down. I mean, it's extremely uncomfortable, and you're uncomfortable like that for 4 or 5 days straight. So I don't recommend taking a Greyhound bus on long trips like that. So just so everybody knows.
I've had some. I think I've been really lucky with all the times I've flown for the most part. I've had some stupid layovers. I got stuck at LAX for 12 hours one time
Oh,
and threw all my stuff away before we left when I was going to the airport.
just mad? That way you threw yourself
Nah,
away?
I couldn't take it with me to the airport. I've been in California, man.
I got you.
Because as soon as I found out it was going to be 12 hours, I jumped right back on the shuttle and went to Enterprise. And the girl come out there and she's like, flight get delayed? I was like, yeah. She's like, threw your stuff away, didn't you? And I was like, yeah. She goes, honey, them boys scoop that stuff up as y'all come through and drop it off and cars off.
I bet.
I was like, so it happens all the time? She's like, yeah. I was like, man, I got 12. She goes, how long is your delay? I was like, they're saying 12 hours. She's like, no, well, it was kind of funny. But
So, do your fans know about your 420 friendliness?
yeah, pretty much.
All right. So, do you want to tell the story about you getting freaked out whenever you went to Vegas?
All right. It's legal in Vegas, perfectly legal. Some people drink. I don't drink, but I got to Vegas. I was by myself. I went to Vegas a few times by myself.
Pete's good at gambling. If you guys don't know, he's a great card player.
Yeah, I like to play poker and like something like that. Like I can go to Vegas by myself and like I'm cool because I get to go where I want, do what I want, play what I want.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people that would go with me, they don't play the same stuff or even at the same tables as I would play at.
Yeah.
So, like I had no problem going to Vegas by myself. First night I was there, the limo picks me up at the airport, and I was like, "Hey man, stop by the dispensary for me." He's like, I said, "I'll take care of you." He said, "All right, no problem." He's a cool guy. I'd rode with him. He had picked me up before, took me back. I'd rode with him before.
Yeah.
And so I go in, I get some stuff, and come right out. I go, I'm like the thing on Ghostbusters, just throwing the edible back.
Like slime.
I get me some other stuff. Enough stuff to last for 20 people for a week, but this will get me through the night.
Like a fear and loathing situation.
So I went back and I smoked some of what I had, and wow. Okay. So I forgot. So I went downstairs for a little bit, and I was like, man. I was like, I need to go up and get a Pepsi and regroup.
Were you starting to get the fear?
Yeah, well, not yet. No, that hadn't hit me yet. I remember I went downstairs, and I hadn't really started playing that night. And I've been in Vegas for like an hour. I've been off the airplane for like an hour, and everything was starting to kick in on me. And I was like, whoo! Like, yeah, it's time to go upstairs. Let me get a Pepsi out of my complimentary Pepsis in the fridge, and let me regroup.
All right.
So I go upstairs to my room, get in there, and it's like, Lord. So I got to thinking about it. I was like, all right, well, this ain't so bad. I'm going to be here for 3 days. And then I was like, and then I've never had any kind of fear of flying, ever, ever, ever. Never had a fear of flying. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, shit. I was like, I got to fly back Sunday night. I'd always take out of Vegas, like the 12:05 Vegas time. So it was like 3 a.m. here.
Okay.
That was always the flight I took. And so I could bet them last games on Sunday night if I was in Vegas. So I just started thinking about getting on the plane, man, and like I was having like Richie Valens, like La Bamba moments with the airplane crashing and wings falling off of it and people screaming and chaos and just like I couldn't. And so I laid down and I laid there for a few minutes and it got worse. I was having like serious like anxiety, like flight anxiety. Like I was like, I'm not flying. So I got up. And I hadn't really unpacked it all, but I got my stuff. I put everything back together I said, I'm gonna lay down, I'm gonna sleep this off, and in the morning I'm gonna go to Enterprise. I'm gonna get me a car and I'm gonna drive home. That was the next morning when I woke up, I was like, whew. I was like, I gotta get some breakfast. I'm starving. So I went. I got to think about breakfast. I was like, hey, I was gonna leave last night. I was like, I forgot lunch. I was like, man, I'm in Vegas. I ain't going nowhere. I'm flying home Sunday night. But yeah, like that. But that one night, I just got all freaked out. I didn't do the helicopter ride in Vegas.
But was you supposed to?
Yeah.
Like you were set up to do one?
Yeah.
Turned it down. That could.
Well, man, it got to be about an hour before, and I was like, oh, let me eat some edibles before I go.
I thought I got to make sure I feel good for
and
the
I got
trip.
to thinking about it, and I was like, helicopter, Grand Canyon, Las Vegas. I was like, man, I'm by myself again. I was like, that makes for too good of a news story. I'm here by myself.
Oh, yeah.
Celebrity Monkey Boo's owner dies in Vegas.
Helicopter
tragedy. I was just like, nah, man. I was like, I can't. We're not writing that story tonight. So yeah, I didn't do that.
Did you eat any more edibles that night?
Probably. Man, it was in Vegas.
Yeah.
I never did anything to get in trouble. My son, me and Ty went the first time, but he had a lot of his friends out there, and he was hanging out with them. And there was a drink meant for a girl. He accidentally picked up the wrong drink and got roofied.
No, he didn't. Did he really?
Yeah,
Wow.
because man, it got to be like 3 o'clock Vegas time, which is like 6 here. And Ty gets up early, and I hadn't heard from him, been able to get a hold of him. I had to call Listen. I was like, man, you know Ty's friends that he's with out here? I said, you got anybody's phone number? And she got a hold of him, and somebody got, and he got him up, and he called me, and he told me what happened. Like the paramedics had to see him and stuff. I didn't even have a clue.
Wow. That's crazy right there.
Yeah,
Crazy that people do that.
he booked everything in his name the first night, the
Mm-hmm.
first time we was in Vegas, very first night, Saturday morning early. Um, I didn't even see him. He didn't even stay in our room. He stayed with his friends and stuff.
Huh.
And he called me early next morning. He goes, "What'd you do?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Some lady just called me." And I was like, "What'd she say?" He goes, "Well, she's from the VIP thing, but she thought I was." She goes, she wanted to talk to me about my table play last night." And I was like, where was you playing at? He goes, I wasn't. And I said, dummy, we have the same name.
Yeah.
And I said, what's her name? And he goes, something. And he goes, she said, come to the VIP thing. So I went down there, and I was like, hey, somebody just called my son. I was like, we have the same name. I said, I think he booked the stuff in his name.
Uh,
And she goes, are you Mr. Moss? I was like, yeah. She goes, I said, something wrong? She goes, oh, no. She goes, we're gonna upgrade you. She goes, and I was like, nah, I don't want to change rooms. I'm straight. She goes, we can move you to a suite right now if you want to. And she's like, you got to ride back to the airport. And I was like, I'd probably take an Uber. She goes, oh no, we'll have a limo take you back. And that's when they VIP'd me up.
For what you do? Did you win big or something? Is that why they?
Well, yeah, but yeah.
I mean, I know sometimes at those casinos, if you win, if you do good there, they'll
Oh, they want to keep you there and take care of you. Yeah, I was comped out like crazy. Like Vegas's comps or like my comps. Like I said, I got picked up in the limo, and I had some really like tremendous nights playing blackjack and stuff in Vegas.
Heck yeah, I know you're good at blackjack.
Some really good nights.
Yeah, heck yeah. Well, on the freak out on the 420 side of things, I went to New York, to the city, Manhattan, for New Year's a couple years back, 2022 I think it was, and I Fish. That's what I went for, to go see Fish at Madison Square Garden. They had sold out shows up there. They played in Madison Square Garden every year, pretty much every year, and so that same week that we went there, all of their dispensaries opened that day when we arrived. That was the beginning of it for them. And me being me at that point in life, I was like, we're going to go to the dispensary, and I want to get whatever has the most in there. I want the strongest stuff they got. And that's what I did.
Such a bad idea.
It's a horrible idea. And this has happened to me like 3 times, man. I don't do it anymore.
Such a bad idea.
And so, New York, people are just out there smoking on the streets. That in Manhattan, that is what it smells like. It smells like garbage and 420 friendliness everywhere.
See, that's what I was about to say. Is like, since that happened, it's been 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, that's 2022.
How much different is New York now? Is like, because in California, man, you can just be anywhere and be like, wow.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, dude, that's how it is. That's how it was there. And I don't think that it was just because of just the legalization that had happened. Because I talked to other people before, and they said that it's always like that. And
the tax money that's in places like, I know, like in Chicago, Illinois and stuff. Like, I mean, Colorado, if I'm not mistaken, like, it's been a couple years ago, everybody that paid state income tax got a check.
Oh, yeah, from the
Because
state.
they over budget, they had more money than they needed. So they like, hey, we got more money we need. Here's everybody some money back.
Yeah.
I don't know 100% if that's true, but
I mean, that'd be awesome if it was. Yeah. But so, anyways, we rolled us up one, went out on the street, smoked about half of it, and this is probably a 2-day with me not smoking anything but a little vape pen, and so burned a good half of one down, and I was ripped, and we went into this coffee shop, and I started to feel a little strange, like I had like too much, man. I was off in the deep end there, and all of a sudden there were this group of the group of Asian people that were in there in the coffee shop, and I had my coffee and I was sitting with the person I was with, already feeling a little paranoid, not saying anything, just kind of quiet. And all of a sudden, it's like everything went quiet around me. And then I heard the Asian conversations, and it was just, and it just got louder and louder in my ear. And I eventually had to get up and leave. I was so
Wow.
paranoid. And the person that I was with, she was like, so she's like, are you okay? You having a good time? And I was like, I needed to get out of there. I was like, I was having a good little freak out there for a minute. And she was like, you didn't even say anything to me. She said, you just got up and left. I was like, yeah. I was like, my mind wasn't all the way with me there for a minute. So the moral of that story is make sure you know what you can handle if you're going to do something something
I
new
mean,
in a strange place.
well, I was where I was at that day. Another time, I was in Colorado. I was in Denver, and we drove up to where they filmed The Shining.
Oh yeah, yeah. The Stanley
You
Motel.
been there?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so dude, it was during COVID, but there was a lot of people out there. Actually, there was a good many people there.
I believe.
But it was funny because in the movie, so I say there's like a Lowe's or a Home Depot or something, and a couple stores.
Yeah.
There's stuff around it, but because I was making the people I was with, I was making jokes. I was like, oh, I can see how it'd be really hard with all this right around. I was like, right around here when that happened, and because I believe Stephen King went and stayed there and wrote it or something. Like I call bull crap on that.
Yeah.
But man, like I've been to the Vietnam Memorial. People were walking around at that place. What's the name of it again? The hotel.
The Stanley Hotel.
The Stanley Hotel. They were walking around like it was like so somber there. Like it was like the Vietnam Memorial. Like that's the same vibe I got from it. Like everybody was like all like it was. I was like, that was a movie, right?
Yeah. That's
and my
right.
friend, the people I was with, were like, and I was like, so. Like I made a few jokes, so I was like, "Oh man!" I was like, and somewhere I was like, "Man, he didn't sit up in there and write this. He wrote it at his house in his little, where he always does his writing at, where he wrote Star Wars or whatever."
Yeah.
And was it Spielberg that wrote that?
I think it was George Lucas that did Star Wars, but I think
Yeah.
I feel like Spielberg was a part of it though.
Maybe whoever wrote The Shining, they supposedly set up in that room. Like, I call BS on that, but anyway.
They said that place is really haunted. Is that
man? Okay, so I had friends that lived out there. Obviously, I was hanging out with, and they were like, "Oh no, we have a friend that has a friend that has a friend that worked in the gift shop, and she put a bunch of cards on the thing, and they just all flew off one day."
What?
And I was like, "Well, of course it did." I was like, "Stuff like that's got to happen." I was like, because there was so many people out there. It's been, man, that was in the 70s.
Yeah.
For it to still be a tourist attraction like that, you have to keep the lure alive.
I got you.
Of course they're going to plant. I said, of course they're going to plant little stories in the community around here. Like I don't think it's haunted.
So I don't mean to cut you off. They said it's that all the people have had weird experiences that worked in the film there, which I've heard similar things to that.
Could be coincidences, but anyway, it was really funny because the people I was with had been there before, and they were still all freaked out about it.
Yeah.
And I went in the bathroom just to pee, and we were all supposed to meet back. We were in the gift shop. We were all supposed to meet back out there. And I come out, and that one dude's wife was standing there, and I come out, and I was like, she's like, "You okay?" I was like, "Oh," I said, "I think I know what y'all mean about this place." She's like, "What happened?" I was like, "I was in the bathroom." I said, "I was just standing there, at the urinal. I was using the bathroom." And I said, "There was a dude in the stall beside me." I was like, "I'm pretty sure a demon come out of his ass while he was in there." I was like, it scared me.
Oh my god.
She's like, "Oh my gosh." I was like, "I'm just saying." I was like, "I see why y'all are so freaked out about this place." But yeah, it was okay. I mean,
there's not much to do there at all, man.
Nah,
I mean, it's just a mountain town, is all it is.
Yeah, like I was like, so is there a little boy walking around going red rum, red rum? I
tell you, the guy that always freaked me out in that movie was the who would have been like the good guy ghost. He was the dark skinned fella with the big eyeballs, and he was talking to the kid. He was the one that was trying to tell the kid what to do. I don't know if you remember the movie.
It's been a long time since I've seen it.
Yeah, but he was the African fella that was in the. That was in the movie. I mean, he could have been one of the only ones in that movie. It was the 70s.
Jack's a good actor. Jack's crazy. Here's Johnny.
Oh, yeah. Here's Johnny.
He
did a great job.
He had a road rage incident. Man, it's been years ago. Can you imagine you're in a road rage incident in L.A., blah, blah, fingers get exchanged or whatever, and Jack Nicklaus,
Yeah.
is that how you say it?
Yeah, I think it's Nicklaus.
Jack Nicholson, whichever. One of them was a golfer, one of them
I always get him confused.
comes out of the car with a golf club. Like, I'm not sweating him. Like, I'll be like, bro, you better put that golf club up. Like, I know you're scaring everybody, but of all people, that'd be like rear-ending somebody and having Gary Busey get out all psyched out. He's one of the crazy characters too.
Well, I think that he is. I'm pretty sure that he was always like really big into the 420 thing, even back in the day. Jack Nicklaus or Nicholas, whichever one it is, the actor, because
I think Robin Williams says he was in everything. He said he could outdo Keith Richards.
Yeah, I mean that's a bold statement there.
You ain't never seen that where he's doing their voices impression. He's like Jack. He's like, Jack can out party anybody, and he's like Keith Richards was at his house and was like, Jack, I really need to go home.
That's awesome.
I had Angelina Jolie, and then she adopted me.
I think
there ain't gonna be no scandals on Jack. He's done everybody.
Yeah, I think that it was. God, man, it seems like it was like Robert De Niro or somebody that was telling a story about him and how he's just even back then. You know, he would just be smoking everywhere he goes. He'd always have him a little doobie with him, but you know. But yeah.
Watched any good movies lately? I have not.
God, man, no good movies. I'm catching up on like TV shows that I didn't watch, which I still hadn't dug into Trailer Park Boys yet. I plan to. That's on my list, but I've been trying to watch Big Bang Theory is what I've been watching here lately. I'm about halfway through.
You've probably seen all of those. You've got to watch the Trailer Park Boys.
I know. I need to get on it, man. Maybe tonight's the night that I'll put it on and start watching.
At least knock out 5 or 6 episodes, get to know the people and stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know if you guys have ever watched Trailer Park Boys. I think it's one of the best TV shows ever. Super low budget and stuff, but it's just.
That's what's always took me against it, I think, is how low budget it is. Because when I've seen the videos on it, I mean, what's the guy with the glasses? Is it Bubbles? I mean, man, come on now. Why they gonna do that to that poor boy?
He don't actually look like that. That's Mike Smith.
Okay, well, good, because he's recently watched Avatar: The Way of the Water, and it's amazing. I have not seen the new one. I've heard that it wasn't that great. That's why
I've never seen the Avatar movie.
I mean, the first one was worth a watch, man. It's good. I mean, that was right whenever like the 3D stuff was starting to get popular again, which it's died off a little bit, I think. But I tell you what's coming out soon, real soon, that I'm absolutely going to the theaters to see, and that's the last Mission Impossible with Tom Cruise. I think that it's Dead Reckoning 2. I think, but man, that guy's crazy, dude. I mean, he does some really cool stuff for the movies.
He's getting up there. He's in his 60s now.
Lilo and Stitch. He is. And I don't know what it is about Scientology, man, but why does he look like he's aging backwards?
I don't think he looks like that.
I mean, dude, Tom Cruise is not aging, man. He's not. He's looking.
Well, why did L. Ron Hubbard get old then and die?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Well,
Chinese riddle for you there. Riddle me that.
I can't.
Like, how come he couldn't anti-age, but Tom Cruise could?
I mean, what's Tom Cruise doing to keep himself, from looking like he's really old? I mean, is he like taking? I mean, is he like taking stem cells and rubbing them on him or something? I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean,
have you ever met a real Scientologist in person?
No.
Oh.
No.
Oh.
You have, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, they're out there, dude.
Yeah.
It's like, and man, I am so non-judgmental about how people believe and stuff like that. I really am not.
Yeah.
But y'all are crazy, man.
What is it they think? Something about the aliens if they've like put themselves in people's bodies or something like that?
Man, I can't remember. It's something about a spaceship and it's just wow, man. I really couldn't pay much attention to it.
All right. Well,
They that well, they first off they tried to play like mind games with me. It was like, well, what do you think? And this, and I was like, bro, I was like, you ain't selling me on that bull crap. I was like, I'm gonna tell you right now. I said, you mess with the wrong one. I said, I'll make you doubt your own. I said, you believe in Scientology. I said, I'm not the person you want to start talking to. I said, I'll make you start doubting Scientology. Well, never. I was like, keep messing with me. They kind of left me alone, but it's just, like the I have nothing against Jehovah's Witness. Brother Nelson, you know who that is?
No.
Prince. He's Jehovah's Witness.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah.
I have nothing against those people.
So, and you know me, I just have a funny sense of humor about stuff.
That's right.
I had, but I do know about stuff with religions and stuff. And I had some Jehovah's Witnesses. They were older. I would have really went on more if it would have been a younger couple, but they were like probably 80. And
it's hard to be mean to 80.
Yeah, and I love old people.
Me too.
And they come up and they give me their little speech and stuff, and I said, yeah, man. I said, I know some people that are Jehovah's Witnesses. I said, one of my favorite musicians is Prince. I said, I know he's one. And he's like, oh, like, I don't even know if he knew who Prince was. He's an old dude. But anyway.
Yeah.
I said, let me ask you something. I said, are you pretty knowledgeable about the Jehovah's Witness? And he said, yes. I said, I've heard that there's only like 250,000 that get into heaven. And and it's either 250 or 275,000. I can ask my phone, but he said, yes. And I was like, huh. I was like, I ain't talking about the people that's passed away or the people you guys are gonna get to join. I said, how many Jehovah's Witnesses are there right now on the planet? And I think he said either 7 or 17 million.
Okay.
And I was like, sir, I'm gonna be honest with you. I said, if I got to be in the top 250,000, I said, that's better than the top 1 percentile. I said, I do not like my odds. I said, I'm going to be honest with you. I said, I probably can't buy into this just for that right there. And he tried to explain the in-between stuff, and I was like, nah. I said, if I'm going to go, I want to go right to the promised land.
That's right.
I said, I'm going to tell you right now, there's no way. I said, in a lot of ways, yes, I am that top 1 percentile. I said, but as far as, I was like, I've probably got some stuff that's going to keep me from being there.
Oh, yeah, they'll be like, oh, Pete, back of the line, Pete, back of the line. Oh, you're a good guy and all, but come on. the whoever's at the pearly gates there, they would.
I always joke with my Uncle Jeff. My Aunt Teresa's, she's literally got a hotline to God. She can talk to him. She knows. She used to call my cousin when he'd be doing something he wasn't supposed to do. She'd call him and be like, what are you doing? Like it was weird, dude. It was kind of creepy. So, but and he actually laughs, and even though he's not supposed to laugh at jokes like this, I'd always tell him like, when Judgment Day comes, he goes, you're gonna be way up there in line, cause you're with Teresa. Yeah. You're gonna get to stand with her. I was like, you probably have a cup of coffee and stuff. I said, you're gonna hear me back here, or back here in front of the line going, Uncle Jeff. Jeff, let me come stand with y'all. Let me move it. Let me get up here because my Aunt Teresa, she's probably like one of the top 7 or 8 people they're picking. She's like, it's gonna be like Noah, Teresa, Mother Teresa be walking around. Not you, Mother Teresa, the other Teresa. Jeff, you come on with her.
Yeah, well, good for them. That's all right. Ain't nothing wrong with loving the good Lord, I don't reckon. So
no, that's all good.
Yeah,
but I try my best not to judge people on their religious beliefs. But man, like I find religion fascinating, and not just Christianity.
Yeah, all of them.
Oh yeah, so wait a minute, like the people that do like the old, like some of the people that do like the peyote and that go to the spirit world stuff. come on, man. Like,
Yeah, you know,
but I talked to God. I bet you did.
yeah, I bet you did too. You know, whenever you're on those kind of psychedelics that are making your mind, you know, mind altering things, you know, it's just that it's mind altering, and some of those kind of things you can play with a little bit in your mind, you know, while it's happening. You know, if you sitting there on something and you think that you're having a conversation with the Lord, there's a good chance you probably are. You know, at least in your mind, you really are. You know, you can see whatever you want to see, but I,
One time when I was a teenager, I took something that'll alter your mind like that. But one time, that and in '97 when I broke my nose playing ball, and well, I was actually at practice. My nose got broke by a ball, and I actually had to have like three. So I was in the hospital like 11 days out of 2 weeks. My nose wouldn't stop bleeding. They did all kinds of stuff to me.
Oh,
When that scar I got there, and they cut me in my mouth from there, I still got staples in my face right there. Like
Man.
six little staples.
really?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Like I was on the verge of needing, they had me set up for a blood transfusion and stuff. Like I lost a lot of blood.
Dang, man.
But after they did that surgery, man, they had me on morphine. And this was like 5 years after my grandfather had passed away.
Huh.
And thank God, when that doctor come in the next morning, or somewhere in the middle of that, I had like a moment of clarity.
Uh-huh.
And because I remember the nurse coming in and clicking that thing, and I think I clicked it a few
Oh,
times.
the little morphine clicker?
Or whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
And, that doctor, like I said, luckily I was, for a brief moment, I was alert. And the doctor come in to see me. And, man, I looked worse than Rocky. I was all swollen up and stuff.
Mm.
And I was like, hey, man. I was like, what am I on? And he's like, what are you talking about? I said, I'm looking up at the IVs. I was like, what is in them IVs? And he goes, got this. And they go, we got you on some morphine. And I was like, would morphine make me talk to dead relatives? And he goes, did you have bad experience? I was like, man, I've been up talking to dead relatives all night. I said, don't get me wrong. It was cool to catch up with my grandpa, but I ain't trying to go back there. And he goes, oh, you know, I said, you need to unhook that shit right now. I was like, for real, unhook it right now. And he goes, oh no, you're gonna need this for another day or so, because like I said, remember they cut me like I was really cut up.
Yeah.
And
God
he
dang,
said,
dude.
he goes, and I said, I got a hold of his arm. I was weak from, you know, but I got a hold of his arm right there, and I was like, unhook that shit right now. I was like, I don't want another. And he goes, you're going to be hurt. And I said, what's the biggest ibuprofen you got in here? He goes, 800 milligram. I was like, bring them back. I said, and he goes, well, you're going to have to use a lot of ice. I was like, whatever, dude. I said, just unhook it now. And he told the nurse, he's like, go ahead. And he called her in and he said, go ahead and get this morphine unhooked from him. I was like, thank God, dude.
So you had some long...
So my family has to remember that if I'm ever in a situation where something's happened to me and they're like, we want to get everybody here, we're making them comfortable. For the love of babies, do not make me comfortable with morphine. Because if I cross over under the influence of morphine, I'm not going to believe that I crossed over. I'm going to be like, I'm going to start seeing people that's already over there. I'm like, what's up? Yeah, they got me on that morphine again.
Oh, man.
And like, we'll be like 1,000 years into it. They'll be like, you think he's going to realize today? Because every day I'm going to be like, I'm just on morphine. I'm going to wake up. My family, my kids are standing around. Everybody's right here. Like, please, like guys, if you watch this, like, something ever happens, like, make sure my family knows. Do not make me comfortable with morphine. There's other stuff.
Oh, man.
There's just other stuff out there. I don't even know, but there's got to be something else.
Well, after knowing that, if I'm there, whenever it's your time to go, I'm absolutely telling the kids, I'm like, look, this is going to be a great last joke for Pete. I'm like, we got to get him on the morphine before he's gone.
No, man, that's cool, dude. Like it could mess up like the first 1,000 years of my afterlife. Are you kidding me?
Oh, man, that's hilarious, dude. It's been 1,000 years and I'm
do you
still...
think he's going to realize today? They'll be like, nah, man. George Washington will be like, I don't even know what morphine is, but he's been talking about it since he got here. You know, it's just like,
That's,
I'm with some stuff. I'm very very lightweight, but I don't know how we could make it happen. But if he wants to come to us, I would go to him. I would, as long as we're somewhere where it's legal and all that. Joey Diaz, who I'm a big fan of,
yeah.
Joey Coco Diaz. I could, I could, I can go deeper into that. It wasn't Joey Diaz.
You think so? Joey Diaz, that is a challenge. We want to see who can have the most edibles, Joey or Pete. So anybody out there, make sure we can get this out to Joey
Oh, when we
Diaz.
get into it, like if there's something he likes to do, like let's go hit some balls. Let's take some like let me do stuff I like let me take some jump shots. Then he can do what he could probably like I don't know if I could stand up and still tell jokes and be funny necessarily. He can do that on that. He can think and like he can still like that stuff. I might not like. I might walk up and be like, I'm going to hit the ball and hit it if it's spectacular. But you won't have a clue what I'm telling you. Hold on.
I would be willing to try something like that. The edible challenge or something. But there would be a kicker to it if I was going to even try, because I will get paranoid, y'all, and I have to stay busy. If we ever try to do anything like that and do a live stream, which that would be really funny.
We can't do it here.
No, we can't do it here.
We have to go to California
or Colorado. Well, actually, there's places that are close to here. We could go to Cherokee and do one from there. But, either way, though, whatever it is, we got to stay busy. Because if I sit down, I'm either A, going to go to sleep, or I'm going to cry because I'm going to get so damn scared because I'm paranoid.
I'm going to get you to keep going. And I'm like, I just sit here. I'm like, Chris, do you ever just think about stuff?
Oh, God. Man, I'd be stuck in my... I'd
You're
be
the one who
sitting
wants
here.
to send me into the afterlife. As one last joke, let's make him comfortable with morphine. As one last joke, really? Like, okay. You want to play games, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
You feel that, Chris?
No. You'd have me over here. I'm serious. I wouldn't move for one. I'd just be stuck in my chair.
If we were upstairs, if we were here, I'd have to call the fire department up the street to come get you and bring you downstairs.
You'd have me climbing down the stairs backwards on my hands and knees.
I had a buddy that was older than me. I knew like in the 80s, and he was at the New Orleans Superdome. I don't think I'm supposed to say it, but we'll say Pacific Coast Palisades. Just use those three letters.
Okay.
That's what he was taking.
All right.
And he was at the top of the Superdome for a concert, and the lights come on after, and it's pretty steep in the Superdome. Well, any big stadium is.
Yeah.
And he got freaked out, and he was a big guy, like 6'4", 230.
That's a big fella.
Yeah, and the fire department had to come and carry him down the stairs.
No.
Yes.
Oh my
gosh! Man, it was so funny. Like there was something. I'd be like, man, tell us the story about how they had to. Man, you don't understand. He's like, it was so steep. I was like, when people go to football games and concerts here all the time. He's like, no, man, it was steep. I was like, no, you shouldn't have been doing what you was doing.
He thought he was on Everest and couldn't make it down.
Fly a helicopter up here and get me, please. No. But the two big giant firemen had to carry him down the stairs.
Man.
With him holding on to the rail the whole time. They're holding him. He's like, just keep walking. I got the rail. I won't let go. I'm like, let go of the rail.
But if you just let go, we could take you down.
Imagine how aggravated them firemen were.
Now I think about that, just going to like concerts and stuff, the kind of shows that I like, the jam bands, it's full of hippies out there. And, a lot of those people are on a lot of different things. And you always see at least 2 or 3 of them that are getting brought back to a tent by the medical staff in a wheelchair. And they just look, it looks like they just went 12 rounds with Tyson or something, as bad as they look. But they're out there just on crazy things.
And I've been to a Pink Floyd concert at the Scissors Bowl in Orlando. It was raining. I only made it for 2 songs, but...
Man, that would have been awesome.
Yeah, well, if it wasn't raining, it might have been okay, but...
Look, I have a story about a raining concert. So we went to Wilmington to go watch a Fish show. And at Wilmington, they have there's a really small little amphitheater they have out there, right on the river. It only holds, it seems like it's only like 10,000 people, 8,000 people, something like that, which is a
Yeah.
super small venue for a band like Fish. And we were there. The first night was really good, great show. They did 2 nights. The second night there, they got about halfway through or so, and it started to rain, and it was coming down. And by the end of the show, they ended up having to stop the show. It was raining and lightning so bad. Lightning hit the stage a few times. I mean, it was crazy. It was like a monsoon out there. And so the keyboard player for the band, they went out and brought tarps over the top of him, and you could see about this much of his face. He was down there playing the keys. You could see his eyes, and you could see his hands playing the keys. And so the guitar player Trey, you could see the people that worked at the place coming and telling him. About 10 times they came and told him, your son was there, and Eve.
I was gonna say, didn't you run into one of my kids at this show?
Yeah, I've actually ran into both of your kids at different shows, at Fish shows. But so they told Trey, they were like, like 10 times. They're like, you got to stop playing. And you see Trey, he's playing guitar and he's laughing while they're trying to talk to him. He's all trying to laugh it off. And they come out and you can tell they're getting frustrated. And Trey stops playing mid-song. He's like, all right, everybody. He's like, just for the record, they're making me stop. He's like, I don't want to stop. And the drummer, now this band is a very silly band. They love jokes. They love laughing on stage and stuff like that. So the drummer is back there, and he's playing the drum still. He didn't stop. And then you see the rainwater splashing off of his drums. And he's like, hey, everybody, the rain stopped. The rain stopped. And dude, we're out there, in 6 inches of water in the field. And he's like, Taylor Swift wouldn't have stopped playing in the rain. And anyways, they ended up stopping the show. Everybody's having to leave. Dude, we're soaked on the way back to the condo. Walking down that street, dude, we were in knee deep water. It was that bad. And you could, if your son was here, he'd tell you. I'm sure him and
He was just gonna ride it out though.
Oh, I absolutely would have, man. That was one of the most. I've seen Fish like 30 times, and that was probably even over Madison Square Garden, which was amazing. But that show in Wilmington sticks out to me more than any other because of that rain. And I'm a poster buyer when it comes to these shows too. I go buy all the show posters, and somehow my poster did not get damaged. Yeah, I have it in a frame in my living room right now, and it didn't get damaged somehow. But great rain story, I mean, dude,
Man,
the lightning.
The Pink Floyd concert was the hardest I've ever seen it rain. I'm pretty sure.
This has got to be similar then. I mean, did they stop the show or did y'all just
No,
leave?
they went on with the show.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't take it, man. That rain it hurt.
At the Citrus Bowl?
I wasn't doing what most of them other 60,000 people was doing yet.
Yeah.
It was on the Learning to Fly tour.
Ooh, man. I'm a huge Pink Floyd fan, too. That would have been amazing.
That's actually their best song ever, too.
Well, we've talked about this. Their best album is Dark Side of the Moon, and that's where their best songs are from.
Pink Floyd's a very gimmicky band.
Man, come on, dude. Time, Money. What's the other one?
Oh, man, let's make a cash register sound over and over. Like, come on, man.
You know music, but you're not a musician. To understand that song is a very strange timing song. It's not your typical little 1, 2, 3, 4. It's different. It's like a 3,
Okay,
4.
it's 1, 2, 3, 1 or something.
Yeah, that's right. It's something weird like that. But anyways, to write music like that it's a talent, man. It really is. But I know that you think Pink Floyd's gimmicky, and we've talked about that.
They're not as gimmicky as Kiss, not nowhere near. But
I'll agree with you there for sure.
Man, Pink Floyd's kind of like I wouldn't even call it rock opera. It's kind of like just opera to me. It reminds me of opera stuff.
It's psychedelic rock though.
That's what you want to call it. I mean,
it's a time frame, man.
Did you say you'd been to a Rocky Horror Picture Show?
No.
Did you know my dad went?
Yeah, you told me.
He got mad. I was like, you went? I was like, wait a minute. You went to a Rocky Horror Picture Show? I was like, what'd you dress up like? I dress up. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, is it rice? I said, was you throwing rice at each other and stuff, dancing around? It's like doing. I said, I'd love seeing you running and doing a leap.
Oh,
A leap.
I bet he loved that.
Oh yeah, he thought that was hilarious. But they like, I guess back in the like 70s, like the people who partied and stuff would go see it.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it was, you know,
I
it
didn't
was a
know till
big
recently
thing.
that's where Meatloaf come from.
Really?
No, I didn't know that.
I mean, I did. I might.
I wish we could play music. It's not 2 out of 3. It's the other song, ballad. I would do anything for love.
Oh yeah, from the '90s.
He's got this, like he opens up singing real slow, and it's like after the second or third line of the song, he goes. You gotta like listen to it, like it's at the very beginning.
Oh my God.
It's where the reason we noticed it because in that Bee Gees song where they remixed it with AC/DC, where he goes, and he's got his voice is real high. Me and Tina was laughing about that like crazy, and then like we were listening to that song one night, and it was like, I think it was on Pandora. It was playing it, and I was like, hold up. So I pulled up to YouTube so I could, and I was like, hold on, listen. And he goes, but I won't do that.
As soon as we get done, I'm gonna have to pull that up, dude.
Yeah, I would do anything for love. I'm pretty sure that's the song.
That
But
is
he
hilarious.
hits him with that. Like, I was like, it's the only time he does it. The whole song is so like this. It's real soft and quiet, but it's randomly mixed. So next time you guys listen to that Meatloaf song, go listen to it.
I
And
would
put
do
the
anything for
timestamp
love.
on the video and be like, Pete Moss told me to listen to that. Man, I wish we could play music. I would so play it right now.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm definitely listening to that as soon as this is over.
This is
So
great.
I recently saw one of those. I guess it's like a reel that was it was isolated vocals of David Lee Roth singing a Van Halen song, and man, it is horrible.
I hadn't seen that, but in all fairness, I've seen other people that they've done that to, and it never sounds good. Like
I mean, I don't know, dude. I don't know, man, because I just saw a Chris Cornell one the other day, and I mean, you know,
I mean, he's a different kind of singer. I mean, he's a singer. David Lee Roth is much more of a showman,
yeah, he's a front man.
which a lot of singers are.
That I guess so. I guess so. Now I'll give
I
it
would
to
think.
you. David Lee was a better front man than Hagar, but
Oh yeah, like
but Sammy Hagar was not, like 100%. He was a better singer than David Lee Roth, like all the way around. Not even a comparison.
man, David Lee Roth and I have a lot in common.
I'm sure y'all used to. Yeah,
Now we probably still do.
you think so?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Like even back to early Van Halen, the Ice Cream Man. What does he say in the song? Better look out now, cause Dave's got something for you.
oh yeah.
Like,
I mean, I get,
you know what
I
I'm
hear
saying?
you.
Like,
I hear
I
you.
think he's actually talking about me. He wasn't talking about himself. He's like he got something for you.
No.
Yeah, like he was just a gigolo and
He was that.
Yeah.
He liked the girls, and
yeah.
he was for the life of the party. I mean, you can look at him right now in his older age, and you can tell that he was all about the life of the party. He looks rough.
I asked him now this has been a few years ago when him and Sammy Hagar did that tour together.
Mm-hmm.
I won tickets off Fox because I answered a Van Halen trivia question, and I took my buddy Lou because we'd seen Van Halen on our birthday a couple of times. We have the same birthday,
Okay.
so I was like, "Hey man, I got front row tickets for." They were taking turns opening for each other
Okay.
because David Lee Roth went first that night, and so I was like literally like 5 feet away from both of them, and you know they're supposed they didn't like each other. Sammy Hagar was like boxed when he was young or something.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you right now, David Lee Roth would beat the brakes off that old little alcoholic dude. Sammy Hagar was a little frail alcoholic, you could tell, and David Lee Roth wasn't missing no days at the gym. He wasn't like jacked or nothing, but he was probably in his late 40s. I'm guessing he was pretty good. I mean, he was definitely still in really good shape.
Is Sammy Hagar not a big guy?
I mean, he's not a little bitty guy, but man, no, I'm telling you right now, there's no way that he wanted that he wanted to get it on with David Lee Roth.
Is he
Like,
not 6 feet tall?
he might be, but he just looked frail to me. He looked like he had drank too much in person. That's what, like, seeing them both together. Maybe David Lee Roth wasn't drinking or doing anything then. I don't think he's ever been like real. He wasn't like Motley Crue and those dudes partying. I don't think he was ever like that.
No.
I don't think.
Yeah, Hagar. He's 5'10" according to Wikipedia, anyways, and 77 years old. I didn't know he was that old, man.
Yeah, they would. And this has been like at least, let's see.
How old is David Lee Roth?
This was before Ty started skateboarding, dude. This is a long time ago.
Man, what? David Lee Roth is 70, and he's 6 feet tall. He's a little taller. I would have put money on it that David Lee Roth was older than Sammy Hagar. That's crazy, man. David Lee is run down looking. Which
It's caught up to him in the last week because when I say I was like, wow, I was like, dang, I was like, that dude looks surprisingly young.
Huh.
He's still jumping around and kicking the balloons up in the air and stuff. I was like, damn, I can't do that.
Yeah, no. I saw a thing with him the other day though that was fairly within the past few years a show with David Lee, and he still tries to hit those high notes like he used to, and he's struggling, man.
Man, Axl Rose, it's hard to watch him perform now, but Vince Neil, have you seen them videos?
Of Axl?
No, of Vince Neil.
Oh, yeah, man.
Man, they put words like, and he's singing like
Yeah.
a song, he's like, going out to get a Big Mac today, and that's what it sounds like he's saying, and they put the words up like, Vince, dude, what are you doing? And he'll, like that first tour, he come out, he did like the first verse of the first song, and then he was over like leaning on the mic and was holding the mic out going, go ahead, y'all sing it for me.
Oh, good Lord, he couldn't
Because I
do
think
it.
Tommy Lee and Nikki Sixx and them Rick Mars was all pissed off at him because he didn't get himself in shape for the tour.
Yeah, I don't doubt that.
But man, like 6, 7, 8 years, 10 years ago, didn't they do This Is the It tour, No More Tours Ever tour? They've done that like whatever, right?
Yeah.
Man, dude's gonna be like 80 years old still trying to do a tour.
Yeah, they're just trying to get out and make money. That's all they're trying to
Be
do.
playing at the damn Kings Mountain Community Center.
Hell, I'd go see them if they came there.
Playing at the old folks' home or something.
Well, I'm sure the people that are Beatles fans probably never thought they would have been 80 years old trying to go hear Paul McCartney. So,
Does he still tour?
yeah, he does. He's in great shape for his age, and he still sounds good too.
He's a Scientologist.
Is he?
No,
I was gonna say
I have no idea.
I was gonna say I didn't think he was.
I have no idea.
I don't really know what kind of religion Paul.
So you want me to go? All right, I'll tell you what. These exotic pictures you spoke of at the beginning.
Boudoir.
If you'll go and infiltrate a Scientology place, the one in Miami is sweet. It's got to be a good time in there, man. Nice building. It's nice. If you guys have ever been to Miami, if you've seen the sign, like it's got a park garage, everything's all neoned up. Like the property is so well kept. We want you to infiltrate the Church of Scientology.
Infiltrate.
And come back and tell us about it. Like, give us first-hand account of, like, some of the...
See what they say to a newcomer?
Yeah. Well, you got to sell them, like, right off the bat. Like, I'm expecting you to go in. I can't do it because, like, they might think I'm L. Ron reincarnated. They're like, you're the one. You're the one. I can't do it. I would be too good at it.
Well, what we should really do is hire somebody to go in there and do that, so it's neither one of us, and we can find out from them what happened. That way, there's no feedback on me for going in and infiltrating the Scientology people.
Because we have to be careful of the Scientologists looking for you.
Yeah, never like I know he's somewhere in North Carolina. We're gonna go get him. But then again,
nah, you can't. I would.
We'll take a Scientology person on the podcast.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, if y'all know any people that's into Scientology that might want to come on the podcast, we will absolutely.
And I'm not bringing them on just.
Not to bash them.
I was going to say not just to make fun of them. Like I was
not just.
Like, I'm not. It'll be in good humor. Like if I say something, like, like it's not. I mean, it's pretty radical. The whole concept of my idea of what they believe is pretty radical.
Yeah.
Like, so we're gonna have to agree to disagree or agree to agree, whatever
Oh
on
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think y'all batshit crazy.
You know, I think going if we were to do something like that, which we really could, I could reach out to some people and get somebody to come and talk. I'm sure they would love to come and just talk about their stuff. But we'd have to do it like kind of like a Joe Rogan kind of thing,
Oh
though,
yeah,
and have the complete open
I would
mind.
go to them.
Oh yeah, just go to their church and I mean,
There's one in Charlotte.
what's their like preacher? What would be their preacher? Do you know what that is? Like their head of the church? Is it a preacher?
What is the head of a Scientology church called?
Religious Technology Center is the most powerful executive organization within the Scientology empire, and its current chairman, David Miscavige, is widely recognized as the effective head of the church. This answer is from Wikipedia.
Is it like an arch?
David Miscavige. I don't know. Maybe they don't have titles like that.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, we might see what we can do about that. I think that would be a pretty good episode, just to have a whole episode on talking with the Scientology people. I mean, even if you don't believe what they believe, I mean, you can at least get a good laugh out of some stuff that they talk about. I mean, I'm like Pete here. I don't hate on any religion. Whatever you want to believe is fine by me. I don't judge. I don't care. In all honesty, that's really where I'm at. But I would love to talk to a Scientology person because me personally, I'm a Pete. I think those people are kind of crazy a little bit. And I would love to get their personal opinion on some stuff because I have never spoken to a Scientology person ever. Like, not somebody that is really into it or anything like that. I've only just read about it.
Their characters.
Yeah.
And so, a lot of stuff they're real private about.
See, that makes me wonder stuff.
Exactly.
Why are you so private? What are you hiding? What are you hiding, Scientology?
You can find somebody that's defected from the church. That's the ones. That's the ones that be talking. Like Leah, the girl from King of Queens.
Yeah, Leah Remini.
And she did like a TV series about it. And she went on Joe Rogan back in the day and put them on blast.
I remember some of that whenever she left the church.
So even somebody that's defected from the church would probably be who we want. But I'll take a member. And I'm open minded. You're not going to sell me. You're not going to get me to buy into it. That's never going to happen.
Yeah. I'd be interested to see what they got to say though, and why they believe like they believe, and
what if they come in and tie themselves directly to all the stuff and they find it in the Egyptian tombs and stuff? And like, now what? Now what you got to say, Mister? Like, we've been around this planet more than one time. Now what you got to say? I'm like, man, shut up. I was like, shut up.
Yep. Yeah. But
like, this has my name on it, not Elron.
Yeah. Well,
this is our show. Yeah, I would go to them.
All right. Well, we'll see what we can do. We'll see if we can make that happen. We'll reach out, but this has been a fun one. I enjoy talking about all the just talking about trips and different experiences.
Some of you guys will see it after. I hope everybody had a great Memorial Day.
Yes.
Had some good food. It's kind of cloudy here. It's nice outside, the temperature, but the bottom about to fall out. We're not going to get to play ball this week. Our church tournament was supposed to start this week. Softball. Hey, we ain't playing this week.
You better get you some push-ups and sit-ups in.
Yeah, I can actually do real exercise this week, so I won't be too sore.
Yeah, you better. Next week.
It's been super fun. Thank you guys for hanging out, watching. Always hit that like button for us. If you want to follow us on Instagram, JCB Guitar Repair, PeteMossShow, our Facebook pages. But I'll put the links in the description of the video after it's done process stuff when I post it on Facebook, which it'll be on Facebook on what's today?
Today might be on there probably Wednesday.
No, it'll be on tomorrow morning.
Oh, tomorrow morning.
I had to process it on YouTube first. All right, guys. So everybody have a great rest of the week. We'll see you guys on Friday, and find us a Scientologist.
Yeah. And again, happy Memorial Day, everybody, and thank all of your people and everybody that has been some sort of military or something like that, and take care of your mental health, and we will see you guys next time.
See you guys. Have a great one.